What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the latest Dallas Cowboys recap show, I guess you want to call it, on Birds vs. Boys right here. I am Kmess. Apologies for the late reaction to the Sunday night game. I am recording this on Tuesday. A couple things have happened since then. One, I was actually traveling home from a wonderful weekend vacation. 12 adults, no children, in Mexico at an all-inclusive. We got it in, ladies and gentlemen, a wonderful weekend. However, I was traveling with 10 other Philadelphia Eagles fans and flying in and out of Philadelphia. We also had to fly Spirit Airlines home because the flights to and from Mexico were absolutely outrageously expensive. It was even about $1,200 to fly one way home on Spirit Airlines. And we were flying home during the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys game. This was the game, if you are a return listener, I was supposed to be at. We were going to fly from Mexico to Dallas, go to the game. And thank God, a couple weeks before, we decided to not do that part of the trip because that would have been even more miserable. However, I was flying home on a Spirit Airlines flight full of Philadelphia Eagles fans flying home from awesome weekend in Mexico for everybody on the plane, with everyone watching the Eagles and the Cowboys game, me sitting directly next to my wife, who was an Eagles fan. So this was a wonderful, wonderful flight home for me. And the funniest part was we landed as Trayvon Diggs intercepted Jalen Hurts in the end zone. And as that happened, a bunch of buffoons in the back of the plane start clapping when we landed. The rest of the flight was like, "You idiots, how are there this many Cowboys fans? Why are you clapping?" But they were just clapping because we landed the plane. Don't, please, if you're out there, if you're watching, if you're listening, don't be the person that claps when the plane lands, okay? But you're not here for plane talk or spirit talk or landing and clapping talk. You're here to talk a little bit about the Dallas Cowboys. And the Dallas Cowboys absolutely stink. They stink at everything. They stink at the offseason. They stink at the in-season. They stink at the sun. They stink at the moon. They stink at the money. They stink at the free agency. They stink at everything right now. This season, going back to actually the playoff game at home against Green Bay, has been a complete catastrophe. I keep saying this season with Aiden that the Green Bay game has not ended, and it hasn't. The Green Bay game bled into the offseason. It bled into the contract talk. It bled into the lack of free agency. It bled into everything besides the Browns game. Besides that, it's an utter disaster, especially at home. The Dallas Cowboys are the first team in NFL, I think, since 1966 to have lost by 20 plus points, or have trailed by more than 20 plus points, at home in 5 straight games dating back to the playoff game against Green Bay last year. Everything's broken, but nothing can be fixed right now. Dak Prescott now has gone on the IR, and I learned a very, very stupid rule this week that now that Dak is going on IR, he cannot be at the facility at all. He can't be in the quarterback room. He can only be there for rehab. He can't be in any team meetings. It's just that is just outrageously stupid, especially for a franchise quarterback. If he's having surgery and he can be in meetings, let the guy be in meetings. Tell me why he can't. He's still part of the team. I get it that he's on injured reserve, but let the guy be in meetings. Let him help a guy like Trey Lance. The game the other day was a complete mitigated disaster. They had 50 net passing yards. The play calling by Mike McCarthy was atrocious. Everything was at the line of scrimmage, behind the line of scrimmage, and then all of a sudden would just randomly throw a bomb 30 yards down the field for 5 times, which Cooper Rush did not complete one of those. At one point, I think CeeDee Lamb had 13 targets for like 6 yards. It's just everything about the game was atrocious. Even the fact of, Rico Dowdle was kind of moving the ball a little bit. He had 50 yards in the first half. And then again, they just completely go away from it. And then they start running the ball to Zeke, and then subconsciously he fumbles the ball in the end zone, which was really the turning point of the entire game. This team is a disaster. They're just not good, everybody. They're not well coached. They're not disciplined. They don't have great players behind a couple really good players. It has been a soap opera since the offseason. We got Micah Parsons talking on podcasts, and after Jerry Jones is getting media people fired. It's a big talking point about the lack of fans at training camp. Like, it has been a Hard Knocks season without being on Hard Knocks. They're a soap opera. It's to the point where I'm not angry. I'm not mad. It's laughable now. Things that I said in the offseason and got crushed for on Twitter are all coming to fruition. When I said that this may be a 5-win team max, I don't know if I see 2 more wins the way that they're playing, and now losing Dak Prescott for the season. But what's Jerry going to do? Does he fire Mike McCarthy in season? He is on record now saying he wished he went back and did not fire Wade Phillips in season. I think if he gets embarrassed this week at home against the Texans, which they will, they opened at a 6-point underdog at home. That's only going to grow. If they get trounced at home against the Texans, and then if they get trounced or even lose slightly to the Giants on Thanksgiving, I think maybe that is when Jerry gives Mike his walking papers. Now, there's nobody that they can turn the reins over to that we're going to be confident in. Mike Zimmer, defense has been terrible. Do you give the over to Bones Fossil, who is the special teams coordinator? I don't know, maybe, but there's really nothing that can be done this season except lose and continue to lose. That is the only way that this team can be built back up from the ground up, because I've been saying it, and now this is completely off the table with Dak gone. But the worst thing this team could do is kind of get on a run, sneak into the playoffs, lose in the first round, have to hire a new head coach, and have the 23rd, 24th pick. Just lose at this point. The wild card's out of play. The division's out of play. Every win just simply hurts your draft stock. Get a top 5 pick for your new head coach and start to move forward. There's really nothing else you can do at this point except start to wonder who the head coach is going to be. Is it going to be Bill Belichick? Is it going to be Vrabel? Is it going to be Ben Johnson? Probably no to all of them. My guess since July, check the Twitter, Kmess22, has been that Kellen Moore will be the head coach again next season. Jerry never wanted to fire Kellen. The only reason he did was because Kellen and Mike McCarthy weren't getting along and something needed to happen. Pushed Kellen out the door, went to the Chargers. We all know what happened there. And now, he's having a nice season with the weapons that he has in Philadelphia. So Cowboys underperforming, Mike McCarthy on his last contract. We all know Jerry loves continuity. That's why he kept Jason Garrett around so long. Kellen Moore was going to be his next Tom Landry, his next Jason Garrett. He wanted to keep him in-house. He's his boy wonder. They had him as a quarterback, and then it was just everything happened for a reason. He broke his leg, and then Romo got hurt, and then Dak came in, and then Kellen became a quarterback coach and then moved up, and he was the OC, and he was the heir apparent. But then he hired Mike because Kellen wasn't ready. Kellen went out, interviewed a couple places, didn't get a head coaching job. Now he's back in the division, showing you what he can do as an offensive guru. Your team's underperforming. Your coach stinks. Why not bring back the person that you have continuity with, that's not going to cost that much money? And then you can say to press conference, if you love somebody, sometimes you just got to let it go. And if it comes back, it's yours. If it doesn't come back, it never was. That's going to be Jerry Jones and Kellen Moore. I'm terrified of it, but it's what is going to happen. And Jerry, I'm so done with Jerry. With whether it's talking about the sun, we know where the moon is. Nobody can effing do this job better than me. Yeah, Jerry, a lot of people can. It's time for Jerry just to go away. At this point, it's like, you are a billionaire. Go on your zillionaire yacht, just sail the world, have fun. Let somebody else come in. It's not going to happen. Never will. Jerry's going to die in the box watching a game, probably that the Cowboys will lose. We've been waiting for so long as Cowboys fans to have, some success, get to the NFC Championship game, get back to a Super Bowl. And those DC4L fans always feel like it's our year, Super Bowl. The window, I feel like, has been slammed shut at this point. We'll see what happens after the season in terms of Micah Parsons. You got guys like Zach Martin who are probably going to retire, others who won't be back. You're here with Dak, you're here with CD. Now it's time to build around them and actually be a player in free agency. Continue to draft well, not guys like Mozzie Smith. You got embarrassed at home against the Philadelphia Eagles, right? Yes, I get it. You're down guys, right? Cooper Rush is playing a quarterback. You didn't have DeMarcus Lawrence. Micah was coming off the injury, no Deron Bland. But I will say the defense battled in the beginning of the game, but there's no contingency plan. It looked like they were like, oh, well, Cooper's out there. Maybe let's just run this. And then I don't know what to do. And then the most embarrassing part of the whole game was not giving up 50 plus points, not even having, less than 100 yards total. It was the fact of when you had Cooper Rush out there, we have Trey Lance. You traded for him. We all saw he had 5 picks, at one point, but people want to know what he can do. We know what Cooper Rush is. We also know the season's kind of done. So put Trey in. Let's see what he can do. But at one point, they took Cooper off. They put Trey in. Everybody's like, all right, here we go. This is the time. He handed off the ball twice, and then they trotted him off the field and trotted Cooper Rush back in. It's like, what are we doing? Stop being so fucking stubborn. It's over, Johnny. Play the young guys. Play Trey Lance. See what we can do just to, still lose. But let's just see what the kid has. I don't know. The whole sun thing, too. Like, we've been talking about this for years, and Jerry's like, we know where the damn sun is. Did you? Did you know? Did you know? Because your quarterback's blinded. Now your number one receiver who you're paying millions to is begging to put curtains up. The Dallas Cowboys are the laughing stock of the sports world. Not the NFL, the sports world. Because they are the most valuable franchise in the world. Jerry hangs banners for this. Jerry hangs banners for the season ticket renewal, even though that felt like a 50-50 crowd the other day with Philadelphia fans. And now it's only going to get worse this season with Cowboys fans trying to sell their tickets more and more. But you are, quote unquote, America's team, most valuable franchise in the world, and you're an embarrassment, a complete and utter embarrassment. And there's nothing that can be done to fix it this year. The only thing that can be done to help this team moving forward is to lose. Maybe lose admirably in a couple games so that, your young guys can get some experience, some motivation, some juice. But it's time to clean house and continue to lose for draft picks. Clean house with the coaching staff, clean house with players. Stop with, the swan songs with guys like Zeke. And you have to change philosophy. You actually have to be somewhat of a player in free agency next year. You don't have to be all in terms of signing 5 guys on day one. But Eric Kendricks cannot be your number one free agent pick 4 weeks after free agency starts. You need to compare drafting and free agency together like the great teams do. Met a loss. And the worst part is I wasn't even angry Sunday night. I'm not even angry now. I'm numb. Apathy is worse than anger. Apathy is worse than sadness. Apathy is when you lose a fan base completely. And I think that's where we are. The Dallas Cowboys are garbage. I can't wait until we hear on First Take that Jerry Jones has Dak Prescott now leading the tours around the Star, hobbling around, or actually on one of those little scooters giving tours out. Because, those are the VIP tours. Jerry could probably get $1,000 a ticket if Dak's leading the way. That's the way he thinks. He doesn't think like a football guy. He's a businessman. He won his Super Bowls in the 90s. He sold his soul to the devil. The only thing he wants now is to do it his way because he's so stubborn. But guess what, Jerry? It's not happening your way. We've tried it for 30 plus years, and they failed for 30 plus years. Problem with this team starts at the very top, and it trickles all the way down to the players. They're entitled, and they just seem like they're completely checked out at this point. Fans are checked out. Players are checked out. We are who we thought they were. Well, I will be back with Aiden Powers looking forward to the big game on Thursday night, a game that I'm actually really looking forward to watch in terms of the Eagles and the Commanders, what actually fun teams look like and successful teams in our division look like. So I'm looking forward to having that talk with Aiden, finally getting us back together. It's been a disastrous kind of 2 weeks with my schedule and traveling and babies and Aiden and work. And we will be back together with an episode looking forward to the Thursday game and then back on track. But this is who they are. This is what they are. They're trash. They're a disaster. And that's it. Follow us everywhere you listen to podcasts, Birds vs. Boys Pod. Make sure you subscribe here at the YouTube channel. Follow me on Twitter, Kmess22, and everywhere Birds vs. Boys are on social media, Birds vs. Boys Pod. YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. We're there. Mentally, physically, I don't know where I am. Perfect way to end that with a cough.
Chris Hansen here, and I'm going to need you all to take a seat right over there and check out Birds vs. Boys.
I think you're completely right here, and I hate it.
Yeah. Hey, idiots. Stop doing dumb things.
I got 2 phones.
Upset alert. Upset alert. I might go insane.
I think you're already there.
There's no hope. Hope is gone.
If this was an AFC North podcast, we'd be done in 15 minutes.
Bob Hope.
I'm going to drink bleach.
That is?
Be the team you promised me you were going to be this year!
This is the Consciously Hopeful podcast.
I'll be watching.